Hello everybody. Today we are going to make a couple of hats. Basically we are going to work using the same fabric as we did in some of the previously published instructions like cake or umbrella. In this example, let's inflate 6 balloons rainbow colors leaving about 1 inch flat tails. Let's twist the first yellow about 5, maybe 4 inch long bubble. Lock the free end of the first yellow bubble with the nozzle of the orange bubble. We're going to work all 6 balloons in exactly the same way. We twist all bubbles in the same row of the same size. Tie the nozzle of the red balloon with the free end of the first orange bubble. The size of the chain of the first 6 row, the 6 bubbles of the first row, is the size of the hat. Working in this way we can use less or more balloons to make different sculptures, and of course we can use different color balloons to make different color patterns. And right now we have to lock the free end of the first purple bubble with the nozzle of the yellow balloon. We have made the first row the base of our hat. Twist the second 1 inch long purple bubble. Twist the third about 4 or 5 inch long purple bubble. Twist the second yellow 1 inch long bubble. Lock free end of the second yellow bubble with the free end of the third purple bubble. I'm going to make bubbles of the second row of the same size as we did the first row, and also we're going to connect bubbles to each other, moving around the sculpture in the same direction as we did the first row. Working each row in the same direction, we're actually making zigzag color pattern or steps color pattern. If we connect bubbles of the second row moving around the sculpture in opposite direction, then we would have different color pattern. You can find examples of different color pattern in previously published instructions, surfboard, fabricate, and some others as well. All links available on my website feeddoit.com. And now we have to lock free end of the third blue bubble between the second and the third purple bubble. We have made the second row, and actually we have made the hat. You can use it as it is. We can use it to make different sculptures as well as different shapes hats. For example, we can use the rest of the balloons to make couple more rows, working them in exactly the same way as we did previously. Also we can lock both ends of each balloon in one lock twist, working balloons in the same directions as we did the previous row. I'm going to lock both ends of each balloon, working them around the sculpture in opposite direction than we did the first and the second row. Here I already connected both ends of the blue balloon. We can place each balloon on top of the previous one like this, or we can interlace them. In this example I put the rest of the green balloon from the top through the loop of the last blue bubble, and then I lock both ends of the green balloon in one lock twist. Let's work the rest of the balloons in exactly the same way, moving around the sculpture in the same direction. As you can see, we use here a very simple waving technique. Nevertheless, to avoid any confusion, I hold the hat at the first row, the bottom of the hat. All 3 balloon ends I pointed away from me to the top. Work each balloon following exactly the same pattern. Take your time and you will have no problem making this sculpture. Alright, congratulations! We have made 6 balloons rainbow hat or flower hat. Also you can use it as a skirt. Yes, indeed, you can use this sculpture as a skirt. This particular size skirt will fit nicely to some little girl. In this example, all petals of this flower interlaced. And now I'm going to demonstrate this sculpture as a hat, not as a skirt. This size hat should fit most adults, and it looks really nice on little kids as well. And you can make it using different colors. In the following example I'm going to make basically the same sculpture using 6 balloons of 3 different colors: white, blue, red, national colors of America, Russia and some other countries. I put colors in this order: white, blue, red, white, blue, red. And once again, you can place colors in different order, wherever you like. It's a matter of your taste. I'm going to make the same size bubbles and connect them working around the sculpture in the same direction as we did in previous example. And once again, I want to remind you, you can work the second row in opposite direction. Then you would have different color pattern. You can make the sculpture with just one row or as many rows as you want. At this point I already made 2 rows, and now we're going to make the same flowers we did in previous example. Instead of connecting both ends of each balloon in one lock twist, we can connect both ends of the chain of the last 3, last 2, or even just the last bubble in one lock twist. I'm going to twist small, about 1 inch long bubble at the end of each balloon, and then lock both ends of the chain of the last 4 bubbles in one lock twist. And I'm going to interlace ends of balloons as we did in previous example. I pull the end of each following balloon from the top through the loop of the last bubble of previous balloon. Instead of making small 1 inch bubbles at the end of each balloon, we can make larger size bubbles at the end of the balloons. Connect them and you will have different hat, some kind of a crown. It is very basic hat that we can use to make many variations of different sculptures. Hats, vases, baskets, skirts, dresses, costumes, and so on. There are a lot of use for this kind of waving technique. Congratulations again, we have made the hat. 6 petals, 3 colors flower hat. Here's the bottom view. Here's the side view and the top view. In the following example I'm going to use the same hat, this hat, to make different sculpture. Here I have already untangled the last bubbles of each balloon. In the previous example we locked both ends of the last 4 bubbles in one lock twist, working balloons in opposite directions, and we did the second and the first row. Now I'm going to do basically the same thing, lock both ends of the chain of the last 4 bubbles of each balloon in one lock twist. However, this time I work the rest of the balloons moving in the same direction as we did the last row of the hat. Also this time I do not interlace ends of the balloons. As a result, we will have very differently looking hat. I'm making small 1 inch bubbles at the end of each balloon. This way it's easier and faster for me to do this work. For many people who are not familiar with balloon twisting, making this sculpture may appear as something very complicated. To me, making this sculpture seems as a very simple following of the same pattern. We work each balloon in exactly the same way. Just don't rush, take your time to avoid any confusion, that's all. That's all. Congratulations, we have made the hat. Here's the top view, the side view. And here's the bottom view. We have made very fancy looking hat that looks very different from what we have done in previous 2 examples. You can bring the waves up to the top or lower them to the bottom, move them all on one side of the hat, or spread them evenly around the hat. Now I'm going to put the hat on to demonstrate how it looks like on a person. You can use different color balloons to make this hat. This hat looks very fancy, and this hat looks beautiful in combination with a dress. Well, making balloon dresses and costumes, it's another big topic for discussion. In some of the future instructions we will make dresses and costumes. Now let's take a look on what we have done today. We have made couple hats, a rainbow hat, hat flower, fancy hat, and we can use the same waving technique to make many different sculptures, vases, baskets, skirts, dresses and so on. Have fun and happy twisting!